Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mickey Clayton, the coach, and I'm here with another episode of the Claflin Athletic Show. And each time we present this series and an episode, we always try to find something new and interesting for you. Today, we got the athletic trainers from Claflin University with us today. First time they've been on the show, even though this is our second season, first time we've had them on. And just off stage for a few seconds, I can tell this is going to be pretty interesting. I'd like to welcome them both to the show, both Remy and Alex. How y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I'm great and looking forward to listening to see what you have to share with us today.
I'm excited.
Remy, you're excited. I'm glad to hear that. Remy, I need you to introduce your partner in crime to us.
Yeah, I'll go for it. Her name is Alex Trimble. She's from Virginia. She is a second-year athletic training graduate assistant here at the University of South Carolina. She did 4 years of undergrad at ODU, and that's everything about her. She's been certified for a while now, and I feel like she's good at what she does.
I hope you saw Alex's face when you said ODU for a minute. She was looking at you like, what is he getting ready to say?
Oh, God. Yeah, no, I saw it.
Alex, it's your turn. Tell us about Remy.
Just a minor clarification. My undergrad was Longwood, but I worked at ODU right after graduation. So he was close. Not quite, but close. So this is Remy, or Rahmiel Ballesteros. He is from New Jersey, and he went to undergrad at Penn State, and he worked with the Indianapolis Colts for a season right after he graduated. So that's pretty cool for him. And unfortunately, he's a Giants and a Colts fan. I don't know how he's stuck with that, but I give it to him. Props to him for that. Yeah, and I feel like he's a first-year PPAT student at the University of South Carolina, and Claflin is his first clinical rotation within this program. So, but he's excelling so far.
Wow, that actually was a pretty good introduction, Alex. Remy didn't do you justice, but you did. She even went and told us about your experience with the Colts and long-suffering Colts and New York Giants fans.
Yeah. I don't know if that part should have been brought up. That part's kind of rough, but here we are.
Remy, I have to say, I'm a long-suffering Cleveland Brown fan.
Oh no!
Those are we're long true fans when you stick in there with the beatings that we take on a continuous basis.
That's what I'm saying, but it'll be all worth it when we win. Eventually we win the Super Bowl. It'll be all worth it. And everyone will be talking to us. So
I agree with you 100%. Alex, tell us a little bit about your love and how you ended up in this area.
So like I said, I graduated from Longwood University, which is in Southern Virginia. And then I graduated right around the time that COVID started in 2020. So I took on an internship at Old Dominion University, and I worked with them for 2 years. I was the athletic trainer for their baseball team for 2 years and their volleyball team for 1 year. And then COVID kind of let up, and I decided I want to go back and get my master's since they weren't doing classes online anymore and I could be there in person. So I applied to the University of South Carolina's athletic training program. It's an advanced athletic training program. So we've already got our certifications, and they pay us to loan us out to various universities and stuff like that. And last year I was with the University of South Carolina's men's soccer team. I was the head athletic trainer for them. And then I worked in adjunct with the baseball team's athletic trainers. So once soccer season ended, I picked up the University of South Carolina's baseball team. Once their season ended, I got the summer and then came back, and I was assigned to Claflin University, which is pretty cool. I've never been the athletic trainer kind of like in charge with nobody in front of me, and love the athletes that I worked with so far. And I'm excited for basketball season to start ramping up and us getting busy. So so far I'm having a great time at Claflin.
Okay. Now, you gave us a little bit of your background and your history. Tell us how you ended up in this area. It seems as though you've been preparing yourself for it. What about it made it seem like it was something you wanted to pursue?
Like area as in like athletic trainer?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, with that, when I was in high school, I ended up having 3 knee surgeries due to soccer related injuries. I tore both ACLs, and then I had a cleanup in the left one, and that pretty much killed any chance I was gonna take soccer on to the next level, whether that was in collegiate, like the collegiate athletics level. But I still really love athletics. I love sports. I'm a big sports fan. You can ask Remy. We argue about stuff all the time. And so I wanted to still be involved in athletics, but I also wanted to be like on the sidelines. You know, I think there's something different about athletic training in general, where you build such a close relationship with the team. You're not necessarily their coach, but you can be almost closer to them in like a confidence kind of area, because they can come to you with things that they can't really come to their coach about. In addition, helping them when they're at their lowest points after getting injured and then able to get them back on the field is something that I really love seeing. I love to see the progression. So I found athletic training kind of in conjunction with physical therapy. I didn't really want to be stuck behind a desk. Like I said, I wanted to be on the side of the lines. So I found athletic training, and I thought that was the route that I wanted to go. And I applied to 3 different universities that all had it as a major, and I stuck around and I found Longwood, and the rest is history.
Wow. It seems as if a lot of times people end up pursuing something very close to what their love is, and yours was athletics. And out of dire circumstances in terms of the 3 knee operations, to then be able to continue being close to athletic teams as an athletic trainer. That's pretty good. Remy, your turn. Tell us how you ended up being in this area.
Oh, well, I remember in high school, like kind of similar with Alex, I grew up playing sports my whole life. I grew up playing basketball, track and field, and I feel like in high school, like I always went to the athletic trainer, and I remember how nice she was and how she always helped me, and I like kind of realized that athletic training encompasses things I really wanted to do in a career, such as sports medicine, athletics, and helping others. And I think just overall, like I kind of struck gold with this career choice because, like Alex said, like being close with these athletes and having these relationships with not just them, but also like coaching staffs and like athletic directors has really made it all worth it. I just feel like this career has really helped me meet a lot of great people, and I'm very, very happy I've been able to do it for the last couple of years. Even though I'm like new to it, fresh out of undergrad, and how I ended up in South Carolina. I worked at Penn State Athletics for about 3 years, various sports there in the Big Ten Conference, and I wanted to switch it up and go to the SEC. And also, being in the Northeast, it's always cold, so I was like, I need to switch it up and get some warm weather going. And like even like Alex said, like being at Claflin has honestly been great these last couple months, and just everyone there is awesome. So.
Well, we have a commonality there between both of you being former athletes. And talk to me a little bit, and having been the former head basketball coach of Division I men and Division I women, I know the significance of having quality athletic trainers, not only in terms of being knowledgeable about injuries, but somebody who is able to relate to the student athletes. And Alex, you said something about it. Remy, you did too. But you spend a lot of time talking to them. And it's very important from a coaching viewpoint that you have people on the staff that are persons. I mean, all the ones who get the phone calls in the middle of the night when you're on the road, somebody's sick, somebody's hurt, they're in a lot of pain. You have to find transportation to get them to the doctor or hospital. Then you have to be able to find ways to handle their illness or sickness or food poisoning or whatever it may be. Share some of those stories that you've had already early in your athletic career, training career.
I think probably one of my most memorable stories was I had a baseball player that I was working with at ODU, and he was a chronic dislocator of his shoulder. So he had dislocated his shoulder in the Sunday series the week before, and we were leaving on Thursday to go to an away series. We'd gone through his strength, his range of motion. We decided, okay, well, we're going to wrap you for this upcoming series, and you're only DHing. You're not going to play the field because he couldn't throw, but he could hit. So we're about to leave, and it's Thursday morning, and I get a call from him at 5:30 in the morning. And I answer, and he says, "I've dislocated my shoulder in my sleep." And I said, "What?" And he's like, "It's completely out. Like, it's dislocated. Like, I can't, like, but it's 5:30 in the morning, and we're going to get on that bus at 7 o'clock. So I tell him to call one of his roommates, and I have him get on basically on all fours with the one shoulder hanging out. And I have his roommate distract the shoulder, which basically just means pull it towards the ground, and externally rotate, which means pull it out or twist it out, kind of like that. And his roommate was able to pop his shoulder back into place. And talking with him on the phone, getting his pain levels, getting basically, did you still have sensation in his fingers? Could he feel his pulse? Like going through the whole rigmarole with him, it was actually decided that he could continue to travel because it had come out so easily. It was able to come back in really easily, and he still had most of his strength, and the pain was basically like a 2 out of 10. And he was like, "I still want to travel. Like, I think by the Saturday game and the Sunday game, like, I'll be good to DH." So that was probably one of the wildest calls that I got really early in the morning, and having to talk through one of his teammates to help him set his shoulder back in. That was pretty crazy.
Well, tell us this, that everybody's going to want to know. Did he DH that weekend?
He did. He went, he didn't have a very good weekend. He did DH, but I think he went 2 for 5, maybe 3 for 5.
Oh, that's a pretty good weekend.
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad.
That's a pretty good weekend. Remy, let me hear your version of what you've gone through. That might be hard to beat there now.
Yeah, no, she definitely got me beat for sure. Honestly, like, especially just being fresh undergrad, I have, like, usually as a student, the athletes call the head athletic trainer. So I don't really have any crazy stories as of yet of athletes calling me about crazy stuff like that. But I can tell you about the craziest injury I have seen. So when I was working rugby at Penn State, I had a girl, she got tackled. First time, dislocated her shoulder. So the girl tackled her, she fell to the ground, shoulder popped out. Then she also tore her labrum, and then she also fractured her humerus all at once. So then as soon as we got that, the team doctor tried to put it back into place. She was frantic, like, "No, I don't want this and that." So we had to ship her to the ER, and came in the next day and eventually got surgery. And I think now she's actually doing good. She's been, I think she played this fall, and because this happened about a year ago around this time, she played this fall, and then soon she's going to play in the spring too.
Wow, that in itself is an interesting story as well. But one of the things I was trying to get to is that I think that Claflin University is extremely fortunate to have the youthful trainers that they have that have also served some pretty solid experiences that they will be able to pass on in their work experiences at Claflin. Alex, tell me what it's been like for you at Claflin.
What has been what for me at Claflin? Sorry, one more time.
What's it been like for you?
Oh, what's it been like?
Claflin?
It's been really it was a bit of a change being kind of the one in charge. Like, I have worked at larger universities before, but I've always had like a head athletic trainer. I was an assistant. So one of the first things that Remy and I did was we sat down and we tried to decide, okay, so what do we need to order? How are we going to schedule our days? How are athletes going to schedule with us? How are we going to make sure that we're both present as much as we can be, especially because we're still in class? And I think that's probably been the hardest part for me, at least, is that having to balance class and work at the same time is pretty difficult, especially when Claflin is about 45 minutes away. But I don't think I'd change it because it really has been a growing experience. And I do love the camaraderie of the staff at Claflin. Everyone is so involved. All of the coaches have been great. They have all been receptive of anything that Rahmiel and I have told them. Tio, Matisse, Stian, like everybody has been more than happy to help us with anything that we've needed, and have really just like guided us through being a part of the Claflin Athletics staff. And it really has been a very like welcoming experience for us. Of course, there's been some struggles. There's been some bus breakdowns in West Virginia, staying an extra night in a hotel. There's been some games delayed, riding back in vans, like all that kind of stuff. But that's all just part of our job. Part of the job of the athletic trainer is to keep a cool, calm head under like stuff like that, where things don't go quite the way we wanted them to. And that's just been even more kind of fun that I've had at Claflin. So.
Welcome to the world of collegiate athletics.
Exactly.
I think everybody who's ever served in athletics has been on the long bus rides, have had a bus or van breakdown, be stranded in the snow. I mean, we always have experienced that, especially when we've gone from Florida to Delaware, Maryland, and Howard. And we've even told the coaches, say, make sure you try to stay at a hotel that has a restaurant. And they said, why? I said, because if you end up staying extra days, the money that they've allocated you is going to be out, and you're going to have to feed the team. And if you have a restaurant, you can go and eat, and they'll build an institution. So it's some things you just learn by experience, or people who've never been in snow falling up under the bus door and going down a hill and can't get back up. It's always something. But I think that's what makes working in athletics so interesting. You just never know what's going to happen.
Very true.
Remy, tell us what your feelings has been, because I think track and basketball participation, that's kind of a different high school background. Usually it's usually football and track, not usually basketball and track. But how has that gone for you as correlated in terms of potentially working with upcoming student athletes?
Honestly, I think it's been great. Especially, I feel like I know the game of basketball pretty well. I've been playing it ever since I was a kid. So, especially doing different treatments and like kind of having the same, quote unquote, same injuries as them, like ankle sprains, like tendonitis and stuff. I try to incorporate stuff that I did to help me feel better into their treatment plan. So I feel like kind of having similar experiences in that type of sport kind of helps me build not just a better relationship, but also better treatments for them to help with whatever they need.
Tell me, how do you go about assigning who's working with what team? I mean, is it just a matter of who's available at that time, or do you make a decision that one person works with certain teams, or how do you go about that, and who makes that decision? Probably at you, Alex, but I'll throw it out there.
I kind of boss Remy around a little bit, but that's all right. He doesn't mind too much. A lot of the time it is who is available. We have different class schedules, and we wanted to make it known at the very beginning that there was no real assigned athletic trainer because we wanted all of the athletes to feel comfortable coming to either of us. They could go to Remy, they could come to me. If they had something specific that they wanted to ask Remy that he didn't have a real answer to, Remy could shuffle them over to me. Same deal. If they were not, like if a male athlete came to me and he was like, I'm not really comfortable having this discussion with you, that's fine. I can shuffle you off to Remy. And like you can, either way. Of course, we both love the games. So we're both available during home games because there's nothing quite like the atmosphere. So we're not really going to miss that. We would rather just be on the sidelines than one of us be home. But I think that has more to do with our the way we work personally. Because again, like we want to be on the sidelines and we don't want to miss the games or anything like that. So, but yeah, we really did want the athletes to feel comfortable coming to either of us. I travel more often than not because again, my schedule is easier to work around than Remy's. I have less classes. So that's usually why I'm on the road, but Remy holds fort down when I'm gone, and vice versa. So.
Yeah, being on the sideline of the Claflin Athletic event is really special. I was there for homecoming, and I've been there for a few games, and I've noticed you at work and how competent you appear to be and how involved you are with what's going on, and I think that's really key. Remy, we're talking about different treatments and for different athletes and having experienced it. I'm not going to ask you, do you have a team preference? But I would probably be basketball. Alex, I set him
Team
up.
Preference. Well, team preference. I love all my teams equally, of course. I don't have a favorite, but in the future, as a full-time job, I would love to work men's basketball. So I would say I love working with men's basketball, especially just something I worked at Penn State and I love to have experience, and it's something I want to do in the future. I got to say them. But once again, love everyone equally, love all my teams, all my coaching staffs, all my athletes equally. They're honestly so great. Can't lie.
Oh, Alex, he's trying to be politically correct, isn't he?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. He's trying. I don't know how well it's coming across, but he's trying.
I think it's going great. I think it's going
absolutely
great.
Work with him a little bit more. Alex, you have to work with him a little bit more on those answers.
Yeah. We have to get him, again, cool, calm, and collected, Remy. Don't let him shake you.
Oh, both of you are so personable, and it seems as if you really enjoy where you are. And I think having had some of the other experiences athletically that you've had allows you to understand the uniqueness of where you currently are and the experiences that you're gaining. Is that true? Is that a true assessment?
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I said, it's different from anywhere that I've ever worked. So it's definitely just opening up, making my scope broader, which is great. It's another, tool in my toolbox.
Yeah,
Remy,
100% agree with that. Like Alex said, it's been a great learning curve. This is my first time working with multiple teams all at once, from going from like one season to like volleyball season and then going right into basketball. Usually I've only worked one sole sport, so we go, the whole preseason, season, off season. And I feel like that's been a really great like overall learning curve. And like I say, it's been different here, and it's been a great different. Like from the working with ADs to me and Alex making our own schedules to just overall everything. It's been really great, honestly.
looking down the road in your future, you're in an area where there's always a shortage and a need, that having job opportunities for you is going to be an abundance of choices to make. As you move down the road, where do you see your career path going?
Well, I think at least for me, Remy's got another year of school left. So he's going to be focusing on that. I'll graduate in May, and my hope is that I can find a collegiate position. doesn't necessarily need to be Division One, but I don't have quite the filter for needed for high school athletics. Whereas I can say a little bit more how I feel with collegiate athletics. So I would say that I'd like to end up there. I don't actually have a preference for sport. Basketball is really hard. I admire that Remy wants to work that professionally. Basketball doesn't have an off season. And so I think that I need that. So I probably would avoid basketball unless like a wonderful opportunity came across my desk and somebody plopped it in my lap. But overall, like I'm going to move a little bit closer to home. Probably all my family's in Virginia, and the 7.5 hours is a little bit far. So hopefully a little closer to home. And then like I said, in the collegiate setting, that's what I'd like to do.
Let me tag on to that a question. Has your experience at Claflin warmed your heart a little bit to not necessarily being in a Power 5 institution and the closeness of a staff at a smaller institution where there's perhaps a greater need and affinity to be able to learn your student athletes or more student athletes?
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, I had worked in a little bit bigger universities beforehand, and I have never had an administration as hands-on as the one that works with Claflin. Like I was used to only working with coaches, but having the backup of like the AD and TO and having them, have my back in anything that I needed done, it has been a wonderful experience. And I do think that I think I did used to say I only want to work Division One, but after working with Claflin, I could definitely see myself at a D2, D3 institution. Especially because, like you said, there is a greater need, and I would probably get a little bit more freedom in what I am allowed to do and ask for in those institutions because, I was one of the few instead of one of the many. So.
Excellent points. Excellent points. Remy, I'm going to ask you a different question because I know that in your sly way, you try to prepare yourself for the next question after you hear what I'm going to ask Alex. Tell me what it's meant to you to have someone like Alex that you can bounce things off of, and having that person that been where you've been and can help you. Tell us about that.
Honestly, having Alex there has been great. I feel like me and her work very well as a team together, and especially her having a lot more experience than I have, it's really good to have her bounce ideas off of, and even sometimes she'll bounce ideas off of me. Like sometimes I'll be like, "Hey, what do you think about this? Can you get second eyes on it?" She'll do the same thing. But I feel like even just being there, like not just as a coworker, but as a friend, I don't know. It's just been overall great. Like I feel like she has taught me a lot of things that I haven't seen before at Penn State, and really helped me improve my clinical practice even more. And I don't know, overall it's great. I think healthcare is teamwork, and I feel like me and her make a great team together at Claflin, and having good me and Alex having a good relationship really helps us perform better treatment because we have such a good team chemistry, because like I said before, healthcare is teamwork. So I feel like if you have a good team, you're gonna have a great healthcare staff, and that's gonna carry on to hopefully a great athletes, and everyone's just rolling.
Okay, that's a good answer there, and I'm glad she's been able to help you. Tell me, what advice would you give to a student that was interested in pursuing what you're doing?
Be prepared to work, but there's a lot of positives, a lot of negatives, but just don't give up, because there's definitely more positives that outweigh the negatives. And it's very rewarding to have this job, and it's very different than I feel like than a lot of other jobs, and it's just overall great. So be prepared to work, but also be prepared to have a great time.
Alex, what would you say?
I would say, to your point earlier, that you need to be very personable. You cannot take everything that is said in the heat of the moment to heart, because athletes will especially if they're not performing well or the team is not performing well, will say things that are not necessarily the nicest. But you have to keep, like I said, keep calm, cool, and collected. And then you'll see them after the game, and 9 times out of 10, they'll be like, "Hey, I really didn't mean what I said to you back there. I'm very sorry I spoke to you that way." In addition, be very flexible. Like we were talking about earlier with the buses and being able to adapt on the fly. That's a huge thing with athletic trainers that I think it's different from, physicians, nurses, PTs. Athletic trainings, you have to be able to adapt on the fly. You're going to run out of supplies. You're going to have to figure out a different way to do stuff. You're going to lose your water bottles on the way to the game. They didn't get through customs, whatever. Things are going to happen, and you're going to have to, kind of make it up as you go along. I think athletic trainers are more jack of all trades than some other healthcare professions where they have one narrow, kind of lane that they have to stick to. Whereas athletic trainers are always off in all different kinds of ways. We can be, we can be dietitians, we can be occupational therapists, we can be not, but we can be there as kind of therapists when our athletes are struggling with stuff. So you have to be able to take all the information in that you can, learn as much as you can, so you can help the athletes as best you can.
Okay. In closing, I'd like each of you, and Remy, I'd like you to go first because I told you like to wait to see what Alex is going to say. But tell us a little bit about how significant it is to have an administrative team that supports you.
Honestly, it's been great. Just like Alex said before, I've never been part of an athletic staff that really had all the ADs this close together. I feel like ever since day one, Miss Lee and Miss Dion has really welcomed me and Alex into their Claflin family. I feel like it was never awkward. It was just so natural. And honestly, just knowing that we have people like that to back us up and always got our back and be by our sides, honestly makes the job a lot easier. And honestly, it's very, very meaningful. Not just because I feel like me and Alex don't see them as superiors. We see them just as people that are part of the Claflin family. And it also really does mean a lot. And I really do appreciate everything that they do behind the scenes and everything they have done for me and Alex so far.
Now that's a really good response. Alex, what would you say to that?
Well, I'll say that I will tell you this short story. So the first time that I came to Claflin to pick up my keys after I was assigned here at USC, Miss Dion and Matisse met me in the little kitchen off to the side of the gym. And they say, "Hey, meet us here. We're going to get you your keys. We'll give you a short tour or whatever." And the first thing they do is hand me a plate. And they said, "Here, go fill yourself up. We got a buffet down the line. Get your food, then we'll give you the keys, we'll give you a tour." And I couldn't have asked for a more warm welcome. Like Remy said earlier, they always have our back. It's very nice to be able to go in, bring a problem we have to them, and, be able to work through it one-on-one. Then if we need more, there's always another person that we could bring in for a different perspective. I also enjoy that if a problem arises, it's almost always resolved face-to-face. There's no miscommunication through emails or crazy long text messages or anything like that. It's a face-to-face conversation. What happened? Okay, here's how we're going to fix it. Or even if, they're not happy with something, it's never this is all your fault, yada, yada, yada. It's how can we work to be better so we make sure this doesn't happen again? So like Remy said, it's been great. They're so close to us, and they're so close to the athletes. It's always great to see.
Wow, that, as I continually tell people each time I do this show, everybody talks about it's like a family, but everybody doesn't quite live it like they do at Claflin. And right now you're hearing it from the staff and a young staff that they depend on to be able to service their student athletes and provide help and treatment for them, counseling for them, to nurture them and talk to them, and you see and you hear it directly from them. Remy and Alex, I appreciate you being on. I appreciate what you've shared, and we wish you much success at Claflin and beyond.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having us.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Like us on Facebook.
I liked it on Facebook.
Follow us on Twitter. INSiiGHTS.
Yeah.
2 I's in the middle. INSiiGHTS.
All right, y'all.
Stay up to date with the latest from INSiiGHTS. Visit our website at INSiiGHTS.com. 2 I's in the middle. INSiiGHTS.
INSiiGHTS is the copyright of Mac4 Enterprises, a Florida corporation. This broadcast is produced under the exclusive ownership of Mac4 Enterprises and is the intellectual property and trademark of Mac4 Enterprises. Comments of the host and other individual speakers on INSiiGHTS represent the independent thoughts and representation.